Let's suppose that you have a friend who has never seen the sea in his life and doesn't even know that some creatures can live underwater. Now, how would you explain to your friend that there is life underwater? It would be hard for him to understand because you are talking to him about an area that is quite distant from his own. Just like that, we live in a time concept, and we have difficulty understanding the concept of timelessness, which is out of our time-based dimension. And even when we ask questions about Allah, we might consider it as if Allah is in time. And accordingly, here shows up a question which comes about Allah to people's minds. What was Allah doing before He created us? This is a wrong question asked by assuming that Allah is also restricted with time. But the truth is that Allah is eternal. As it's difficult for someone who has never seen any creature inside the water to cover the issue, it can also be difficult for us to understand this the same way. But with an easy inference, we can understand that Allah isn't limited with time, and concepts such as before and after aren't valid for Him. The concept of being eternal is similar to this. Imagine that there is a mirror in your hands, and the left side of a line that you drew on the ground represents the past time, and your position represents this moment, and your right side represents the future. If you keep the mirror in the middle at a position near the ground, the mirror will only reflect the present time. The higher you raise the mirror, the wider you will see the past and the future times. But when you raise the mirror to the highest point, it will embrace and reflect the entire time. And the same way in the example, we live on a timeline which is inside the universe. We have a life that consists of past, present, and future. What we mean by that Allah is eternal doesn't mean that Allah is in the beginning of the past time. I mean, we don't refer to the beginning when saying Allah is eternal. Eternity means embracing the whole time by standing above the timeline without settling on any of its points, just like a mirror looking from the upmost. Just as the mirror embraced the whole time when we took it at the highest point, likewise the all-knowing Allah embraces all the times at the same time. So, eternity means embracing the whole time by not standing on its any point, which means concepts that are valid for us such as before and after aren't valid for Allah. And of course, a question based on the concept of time, what was Allah doing before He created the universe, is a wrong question, which is a result of not understanding eternity very well. Let's look through another example this time. Let's suppose that you have learned a poem with 10 verses by heart. All the verses stay in your mind at the same time, but you follow an order while writing them on a page. The fourth verse comes before the fifth one, while it comes after the third. The verses have a concept of being previous or next among each other. While you are writing the fifth verse, the fourth verse has already gone to the past, and the sixth verse is in the future. But as we said, this order is only valid on the page. You already have all the verses in your mind at the same time. Just like this example, all the times and events are in Allah's knowledge. The time order is only valid for us as we are on the page of the world. A time order such as 3 days ago, now, and 3 days later isn't valid for Allah. We can take a look over the issue of timelessness from this point of view. The concept of time is a rule created by Allah, and it's not possible to expect that Allah remains restricted with His own rule. When Allah created the universe, He also created the concept of time. Then, He shouldn't be dependent on His own rule He established. For example, if I produce a phone, do you expect me to be dependent on the program inserted inside it? If I tap on the key lock, is it likely that I get locked as well? No, of course not. This is a rule valid for the phone. Likewise, we can't expect Allah to be restricted with the rule of time, which is His design and creation. The concept of before and after are valid for us. They aren't correct for the Creator. We can also think in one more different way. The concept of time wasn't always there. It has a beginning, so it was created by Allah. As the sun and the moon are creation of Allah, so is time creation of Allah the same way. If I ask you, does Allah get affected by sunlight? This won't make any sense for you. You will answer me, the sun is a being whose effect is aimed at us. Just like in the example, time is a creation just like the sun, and its effect is aimed at us. As Allah doesn't get affected by the sun, He shouldn't get affected by the time either. People can sometimes think that these kinds of easy questions, which can be answered in a couple of minutes, are the hardest ones. But the truth is, The more we know about Allah, the easier the questions will get. To achieve this, we should read books teaching us about Allah and faith. And the Risale-i Nur is one of the best choices for everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.